Good Erev Shabbos, everyone. Shabbos Parshas Ki Teitzei, second week of Elul, and we know the Rebbe we spoke about that the Shabbos that connects the previous week to the next week. So we're connecting the idea of Ki Teitzei to go out to war in order to Ki Savai next week to come into the land. Although that there are two separate ideas. One is to go out and battle, but in order to come into the land, we have to sometimes go out in order to be able to come into the land in a way of peace and security. And this is very much connected to the month of Elul, where we're out in the field getting ready to come into the city on Rosh Hashanah and Yom Kippur, like we spoke many times. But in the message of going out to fight, we spoke many times the Alter Rebbe's idea that the idea is alei vecha. Though we're going to fight and we have an enemy, and the enemy is on many levels, but we have to know it's alei vecha. You're above your enemy. The enemy is an enemy, and you have to engage that enemy. And the enemy is usually within the Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, your nefesh habahamis, your animal soul, your body. So though it's the enemy because it wants to distance you from your mission in life. You're here to go and to serve Hashem and to make a dir b'tachtonim, to make a resting place for Hashem, and the body and the soul say, and the animal soul say, we're not interested. We want to enjoy life. You waking us up too early, you're taking us to davening. You want to learn the whole time. You want to make a fabreng, and you want to so they're not interested. They said, just leave us alone. So it's an enemy to the cause. But you have to know that you have the power. You're alei vecha. But then even on a deeper level, we know, like the brought down in the Kutat Torah and the Orach Chaim HaKadosh, the idea of really the examining of the battle. And it says that when you go out to battle, you'll be victorious. Vishavisa shivya, you're going to have captives. And what are the captives? Not outside sparks only, the things that you've gathered in from your engaging in the world to be able to bring it, to elevate it. But there's also the things, the parts within you yourself. There's the parts within us ourselves that when we examine in Elul, when we do the evaluation of where we're holding in life, so the conclusion is what we realize is what we're dealing with. We identify the enemy, and it's not as pretty, or it's more ugly than we would like to believe, and we see that there's an ugliness within ourselves, and it's captive. Although we've been able to be victorious over it, but we're seeing it as a captive, something that's opposite what we want to be involved in. We're uncomfortable when we look in the mirror in the month of El to what we find in the examination. So a person may think that bring a person down, and we know that El has to have simcha in the avoda. So here the Rebbe says an amazing word. The Alter Rebbe says in Sprata and the Maimorim that v're'isai b'shivyai eishes yifas tahor. A person has to examine. When you look in sometimes in the ugliness, you look into the parts within yourself, and in the evaluation of Elul, the parts within yourself that you're uncomfortable with. You look at it as a foreign entity, as an enemy of yourself. But if you examine properly, look into that sometimes in the negative character within yourself, you're going to start seeing beauty. Not beauty in the negativity, but beauty in the potential. Once that's transformed into a holy energy, into a positive energy, not only is it no longer an enemy or a distraction, it's actually a beautiful part of yourself. It's the beautiful you. Over there, in the ugly places, is the beautiful you. And this is very much connected. The Alter Rebbe says, that when a person goes into Elul, we look over there. You have to go to the places you lost Hashem. Sometimes we run away from our ugliness. We say, well, that's ugly, put it away. Close the door, don't let anyone see. I don't want to look at it. I'm going to find a beautiful self in another place, in another experience, another way of avoda. The Torah says no. Specifically in the ugliness is where you're going to see the Eishes Yifas Torah, the beautiful you. And that's all the process of Elul. And when we get to that, like the Rebbe says in the Maimon L'chome Libi that we're learning, that with the heart, when a person takes all their koiches, the heart, and L'chome Libi goes out and uses the heart as a shliach of Hashem to go transform yourself, then you're really creating a dir b'tachtonim. And to finish off, like the Rebbe talks about today, Yud Gimel Elul, the Shabbos is the anniversary of the Frierdiker Rebbe. The idea of building a home, of marriage, is representing the concept of dir b'tachtonim, making a dwelling place for Hashem. That every time we have a victory in our battle, we're actually bringing down a new light that can never and was never down the world until this victory. So when we have many victories and go into the new year with the coming of Mashiach Tzidkenu b'mheira v'meinu mamash good Shabbos.